Hi guys, it's Izzy and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry guys. I know it's been a while. More on where I've been and an excuse. I know there is no excuses, but an excuse for my delay at the end of the video. But in the meantime, Happy New Year, guys. I didn't think it would be right jumping into 2025 without properly saying goodbye to 2024. So a lot of things have happened throughout the last year that I just did not have the time to comment on as they were unfolding. So what I have done is I have made a list. And again, this video is not going to be a deep dive into any of the topics, but it is going to be a good starting point if you love conspiracy theories like I do, if you want to go off and research and rabbit hole down some weird and wacky things that you might not have come across yet. And I can't stress this enough that this is just going to be my own personal opinions on conspiracy theories that have unfolded. This is very, very not factual, this video. And with that, I do want to give my disclaimer that nothing in this video is to be taken as factual. Definitely not. Do not sue me. And I mean absolutely no harm to any individuals or companies mentioned in this video at all. I will not take any liability and I will not make the claim that any of this information is factual, but it will be fun. Miami, Florida started the new year off with a bang with a supposed alien sighting. On New Year's Day, there were reports of police being called to Bayside Market, and it wasn't long before supposed witnesses flooded social media with claims that the police presence was due to 10-foot shape-shifting aliens. I do admit there might be a strong case of people riding the bandwagon with this one, because a lot of the supposed witnesses came to social media a few days later to say, yep, they made it all up, all the alien talk, because they wanted to go viral. Official reports claimed that the police initially showed up to break out a fight between a couple of teenagers, but that number then since up to about 50 teenagers, so basically a mini riot broke out in the mall. This seems perfectly plausible, right? Which is what I thought too, until I saw the footage for myself, which it just seems bonkers. Like, so many police cars showed up. I have never seen so many police cars show up for anything. That seems so excessive, does it not, for a fight between a few teenagers? That must be every police car in Miami, if not more. So because of the sheer mismatch between the official reporting and official reasoning and the number of police cars that showed up, it wasn't long before conspiracy theories started to snowball. One of the reasons being apparently it was aliens. I mean, without being there firsthand, it's difficult for me to comment on this. I've tried to find out a little bit more, but it's just really, really hard to find out the truth on the internet. So if you were there, please do let me know what went down, because I am so intrigued by this. It just doesn't seem to match up, you know, the reporting and why there were so many police cars there. I mean, my personal theory, and again, I wasn't there, so I don't know, is that there might have been even a potential terror threat there, which would account for the number of police cars. And then in the end, it was cleared, so they just sort of came up with a story. But this is something I really want to know more about, because, like, what? It didn't go long for fans of the royal family to notice that the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, was laying low at the start of the year, and this mysterious disappearance led to the ingenious coining of the term Kategate. The New Year is normally a pretty busy time for royals, so when questions about the princess's whereabouts were raised on social media, Kensington Palace made a surprise announcement on the 17th of January that Kate had been admitted to hospital and she underwent planned abdominal surgery and would likely take an absence from her royal duties until after Easter. On the 29th of January, Kate was supposedly discharged from the hospital, but wasn't spotted leaving the hospital and wasn't spotted arriving at Windsor despite all the media frenzy. On the 27th of February, Prince William also cancelled his royal duties due to personal reasons, but didn't elaborate anymore. Kategate really was taken off on social media at this time, with everyone wondering where the royal princess was. And on the 4th of March, a paparazzi photo was released of Kate doing the school run, in which many people claimed that this didn't even look like Kate, leading people to wonder whether or not the royal family had hired a body double, or if this was in fact Kate Middleton's sister posing as her. Things really kicked off on the 10th of March when the royal palace released a Mother's Day photo of Kate and her 3 children. However, people were really quick to notice that this photo was intensely photoshopped, making people question whether or not Kate was really in the photo at all. Due to the backlash, on March 11th, the royal palace then released a formal apology apology, supposedly written by Kate herself. It said, "Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to share my formal apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. I hope everyone is celebrating a very happy Mother's Day. C," standing for Catherine. As the princess had supposedly not really been sighted for over 3 months at this stage, this led people to come up with their own conclusions as to where Kate could possibly be. There were 3 in particular that I took note of during this time. So that was that Kate had secretly left Prince William and was seeking a divorce and was trying to come up with some sort of settlement with them, so the palace was stalling and buying time until they could make an official statement and get Kate happy with what they had agreed about in the divorce. The second one is kind of darker, and this is that Prince William had bunked off Kate, and that they were trying to soft launch the disappearance of Kate without pointing any further fingers at the royal family. Because, this wouldn't be the first time the royals had been accused of bunking off one of their own, if you know what I mean. The third one was kind of my favourite one from this whole one, even though it was so stupid and, kind of disrespectful as well. So people had noticed that Kate Middleton and Mr. Steal Your Man, Pete Davidson, both hadn't been spotted in public for the same amount of time. So people were spreading the rumour that Pete Davidson had stolen Princess Kate away from Prince William and that they were sort of just going on a little hiatus and holiday together. Ridiculous, obviously. People at this time as well, I was getting a lot of comments and messages of people wanting me to comment on Kate Gate, and let me just say, I'm glad I sort of sat this one out. I know how things unravel in the world of conspiracy theories, and my spidey senses were tingling. I just could feel that a giant bombshell was about to be dropped about this story that would throw all the other theories out of the water and make them look stupid, and boy was I right. So on the 22nd of March, Princess Kate sadly made the announcement that she has been battling cancer behind the scenes. Obviously not something I would wish on anyone, and I generally do have nothing but good positive vibes for her and her family. It does seem, a bit strange that the palace let these conspiracy theories go on for quite some time, don't you think? Which brings me on to the real conspiracy theory, if you like, of Kate Gate. I think that the royal family's PR team secretly loved Kate Gate. Why, might you ask? Well, because it kept the royal family in the headlines. This is quite an interesting topic for me because I actually did this for my dissertation at university. It's all about how the royal families, they're basically the OG influencers, and how their power is directly related to how relevant they are in the headlines. They need any press, whether that is good or bad, to stay relevant. And people were shaming the online conspiracy theorists during this time, saying they're being so disrespectful. But people didn't consider the fact that the royal palace had the power to stop this speculation all along, but they chose not to use it for some reason. I mean, they could have made this statement from the get-go and saying, Kate's just really unwell. However, the royal family just refused to comment on anything about Kate, adding fuel to the flames of this conspiracy theory when they could have put an end to it from the get-go. It's just too deliberate for me, and I really do think that they know what they're doing in terms of drumming up this speculation, and that they were building up the drama to eventually drop this bombshell to, get sympathy for the royal family. On April 10th, 2024, the disgraced NFL player O.J. Simpson passed away. Now, in case you missed the memo, O.J. Simpson is probably best known for being accused of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown, and her friend Ron Goldman. Since the 90s, there has been speculation that O.J. Simpson was guilty of the crime, but his defense team was really good and he managed to get away with the crime. However, upon the news of his death, there was a rumor going around the internet that O.J. Simpson had confessed to the crime on his deathbed. It does seem like this was an internet urban myth that has arose from a fake tweet which came out on February 11th of this year, claiming to be from O.J. Simpson, taken to Twitter to say, yeah, I did that shit. I mean, whether or not he really did confess to something in the end on his deathbed, we will never know because, none of us were there in the room with him. But all I can say is that while he was alive, he did something rather strange if you're trying to, get away with murder. He wrote and released from prison a book called If I Did It, which was all about, hypothetically, if he did the crime, this is how he would do it. And then goes into detail about how he had an accomplice named Charlie. Allegedly would have had an accomplice called Charlie if he was to go ahead and do the murder. Strange behaviour all round, and I do think, there might be a bit of a guilty conscience coming into play there. then saw the disappearance of missing teenager Jay Slater, which to me really highlighted the effects of media frenzies and people loving to jump on a bandwagon. Jay was a 19-year-old from Lancashire who went on a summer holiday with his friends to Tenerife, who then disappeared after a music festival, last being seen on a video call with his friends when his phone only had like 1% battery. It wasn't long after the teen went missing before people started to dig up his rather dark past. It turns out that when Jay was 16, him and a group of friends attacked another teenager with a sledgehammer. The teen was seriously injured, but he did luckily manage to survive this attack. Obviously, this didn't paint Jay and his friends in, the best of lights, and it wasn't long before people started to speculate that his disappearance wasn't an accident and that he was involved in gang activity in Tenerife. However, the official cause of death was ruled as a complete accident. It turns out that he had gone to an after party the other side of the Tenerife island to where he was staying. He left the party then with no phone battery, no food or water, and attempted to make the 10-hour journey back to where he was staying by foot through a forest after a festival. Ultimately, this was a recipe for disaster, and Jay Slater ended up falling in the forest and succumbed to his injuries. It's a really sad story all round, and I mean nothing but respect for every individual that I've talked about in this story. It's a really, really sad case. The internet had very, very little sympathy for him, saying, it's all self-inflicted, and people even started to make Jay Slater themed songs, which were honestly just a bit diabolical.
Jay Slater wandered in the night, lost in the city by the neon light, beat something hard in his chest, searching for a place to rest.
People started to say that Jay's friends were also involved in criminal activities, and especially the ones going forwards to the police were just part of a huge cover-up, trying to shift the blame from his criminal activities. At the end of the day, the official inquiry did rule this as an accident. There was no proof that there was any criminal activities. It's just sad to see how little mercy people showed his friends as well. I mean, these people are going to spend the rest of their lives being associated with such a terrible crime and also falsely accused and painted in a negative light. I also want to say what was the most diabolical thing about this whole story, and honestly shame on anyone that did this, was the amount of GoFundMes that were started in Jay Slater's name. It was people I saw on TikTok claiming to be psychic mediums, or people just really invested in the story that started GoFundMes to help them help Jay Slater's disappearance by going on holiday to Tenerife to look for Jay Slater. What on earth? Honestly, guys, just have some respect. If you want to go on a holiday for Tenerife, do it. Don't start a GoFundMe in the name of a missing teenager. Do you know what I mean? Pull the other one, have a day off. In the summer, Sean Combs, also known as Puff Daddy, also known as P. Diddy, was taken into custody after being accused of multiple crimes, and he was eventually arrested on charges of sex trafficking. So people have asked me to do a deep dive into the whole P. Diddy scandal, and I'm really, really sorry to do this. I just will not have time to go into all of that in this video. But what I will do, if you don't know anything about this story, I will link a YouTuber called Sloan's deep dive into this to get you up to speed if you have no idea what I'm talking about. But it is a crazy story, and the reason I'm mentioning it now is because it does fall into a lot of other conspiracy theories I'm going to mention in this video. But basically, my thoughts on the whole P. Diddy scandal, if you are wondering, is I called it. I am just going to put my hands up here and say, I called this one years ago. I just had an inkling. I am one of them people, I really deep dive into the depths of the internet and find conspiracy theories that everyone tells you you're crazy for believing, and then 5 years later it comes out to be the truth. And again, innocent until proven guilty, but I have just heard urban myths and rumours about P. Diddy for the longest time, and it's kind of weird seeing it all actually come to light. Anyway, the reason I wanted to mention the P. Diddy stuff is because with all of the attention on P. Diddy, a lot of eyes have been on other major celebrities in the news. People started to think that the big names in the music industry as a whole were up to dodgy things, and it's no secret that people think Beyonce and Jay-Z are the head of the Illuminati. One of my favourite theories about this, and it just makes me laugh so much, is they claim that Beyonce and Jay-Z's daughter, Blue Ivy, is going to be the next leader of the Illuminati Illuminati and that they have spelt it out to us because Blue Ivy supposedly stands for, if you've not heard this before, get ready. Born living under evil, Illuminati's very youngest. I mean, duh, when you spell it out like that, it's so obvious, isn't it? Like, how can we miss this? I'm sorry, that is just like the biggest load of nonsense I have ever heard. I mean, you can make an anagram out of anything. If you can think of another anagram that you can make out of Blue Ivy, please let me know your best one in the comments, because like, it doesn't even make sense as a sentence to me. Born living under evil, Illuminati's very youngest. I just don't buy that. Like, if they were trying to like rub it in our faces, like, wouldn't they have gone for something, you know, a bit more obvious, maybe like Illuminatina or something? I don't know. Anyway, people started in the summer to look back at Beyonce in particular, especially all of her Grammy nominations. The rumour is that if an artist goes up against Beyonce in a Grammy category and wins, they have to thank Beyonce in their winning speech, otherwise they lose their life. I previously did a deep dive into Taylor Swift conspiracy theories, but in it we talked about how Taylor Swift in 2009 was going up against Beyonce in a VMAs category, and Kanye West ran up on stage and snatched the microphone off her to say that Beyonce actually deserved the award. But people are saying that Taylor Swift, because she was new to the industry, she didn't know the secret rules and rituals of the music world, and that she wasn't originally thinking of thanking Beyonce in a speech, but Kanye West caught wind of this and ran up on stage to quickly grab the microphone off her, make sure that Beyonce has the spotlight during the winning speech, hence saving Taylor Swift's life after all. In hindsight, it does seem like so many artists really do thank Beyonce specifically in their winning speech.
Beyonce and I started out around the same time, and just like all of her fans, I fell in love with her. And the first time I saw her, from her singing to dancing to acting, she can do it all. She's a triple threat and one of the most talented people I've ever seen.
I've had the privilege of being around her gift and knowing what an incredible artist and kind woman she is. Beyonce is a beautiful soul. There's nobody like Beyonce.
Myself, but I can't possibly accept this award, and I'm very humbled and I'm very grateful and gracious, but my artist of my life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental. Beyonce, it was so monumental and so well thought out.
In the 5th grade, I skipped school to see you perform. My sister, she got me out of school. It was literature. I'm good. And where you at, Beyonce? My eyes are wet. You changed my life. You sang that gospel medley, and the way you made me feel, I was like, I want to make people feel this way with my music. So I want to say thank you to Beyonce.
And I never really clocked wind of this, but like, when you see the montages displayed as they are, it does seem strange that so many artists thank Beyonce, even if they're not particularly close to Beyonce or have nothing to do with Beyonce. But at the same time, I do remember the Adele one in particular happening, and at the time it just seemed so genuine. And I think this rumour does also kind of take away from the true impact that Beyonce has had on the music industry. A lot of people who are fans of music really do see Beyonce as a godlike figure. Her success is unmatched. She's so talented. She is just like an icon in the music world. And I can imagine that if you're an artist, you do want to thank, you know, the people who were ahead of you, who really paved the way. And Beyonce is without doubt such an icon, so I can see why people would thank her. Rumours have been circulating for some time that Melania Trump is so over being First Lady, and even more so just over being Mrs. Trump. I mean, you don't have to be a psychologist to see how much Trump gives Melania the ick. It seems that anytime she's around him, she's truly disgusted. It's also been rumoured since about 2017 that Melania is having a secret affair with head of security at Tiffany Co.'s, Hank Seamers. Of course, this is not confirmed whatsoever, nor would it be, because it would be a bad look for a presidential campaign. But people have speculated this because she spends barely any time at the White House, you know, her home residency, and from the fact that Melania gifted Michelle Obama a Tiffany's box whilst wearing Tiffany blue. For me, the funniest part of the rumour that Melania has checked out of the presidential campaign was the rumour, this one makes me laugh so much, that she actually hired a body double to be present at Trump's campaigning. Again, this one is not confirmed. I think a lot of them have been debunked, but it is just funny to see that Melania was wearing sunglasses throughout a lot of his campaign. I mean, that doesn't really seem appropriate, does it? Again, not confirmed, but hilarious if true. I mean, wouldn't we all love to hire a body double to stand in for us at work? I mean, if I could do it, I would do it. One of the saddest days of the year for me this year was October 16th. I am a Directioner through and through. Like, I lived and breathed One Direction growing up. I cannot even tell you the love I have for those boys. So when on October 16th it was announced, like, I still remember it, I literally saw it as it was breaking news that Liam Payne had fallen off a balcony in Argentina and lost his life whilst being there to support one of his bandmates, Niall Horan, at his shows. Honestly, it's the saddest story ever. But a lot of suspicion came about as to how Liam was even allowed to be in a position where he fell off a balcony. In case you didn't know, Liam Payne had been facing a lot of public scrutiny in the last few years, which definitely would have taken a toll on his mental health. Liam had supposedly gone on a bit of a bender the day of his death and was very visibly intoxicated and starting fights in the hotel lobby, which is when the hotel staff sent him up to his room, and a lot of suspicion arose from this series of events. The hotel staff put him back into his room knowing that there was a balcony there when he was not in a good state, and they also pre-warned the police that they were worried about one of their guests because he's in a room with a balcony and acting erratically, which has led a lot of people to speculate, you know, was the hotel involved in this? With it being the year of P. Diddy too, loads of people have speculated that Liam might have had some sort of involvement in P. Diddy's life and stepped out of line, maybe, you know, irking people in the music industry, and that someone wanted to take a hit on him. This theory arose especially after a resurfaced clip on the Graham Norton show where Liam is talking about P. Diddy and an awkward encounter with Jay-Z. Liam's talking about how naive he was at parties with P. Diddy and going up to Jay-Z, and he said it sort of felt out of place with him and they didn't really know the protocol, which really shows how innocent and naive he was in the whole music industry when he shot up to stardom.
I was trying to think who's the easy target in this scenario, who's the one that you go to say the hello, and I'm thinking, I saw him in Get Him to the Greek, I'm going to go over there and say hello to him, so I thought P. Diddy. So I went out to shake his hand, and I shook his hand, and I was, oh, nice to meet you, and he's just going, but the longest handshake ever. And I'm like sat there just looking in P. Diddy's eyes like, when is this going to end?
People have also said that the other guests were trying to distance themselves from this conversation on the show.
I had that with P. Diddy. I went over to say hello to P. Diddy, and Jay-Z was there, and Leonardo DiCaprio was sat at the far side.
I think you've dropped enough names. Okay, I think people thought Prince and Brian Ferry was good.
Making hand gestures, which were a secret symbol to say that they are not involved in this conversation. With all these theories, I do personally want to say that I do not believe these. I do think it was a tragic accident, unfortunately. I mean, he was very open with his struggles with drugs and alcohol for some number of years now, and I do think it was just one of those things where it was just a tragic accident.
And even I know this ain't smart, but mama, I'm in love with a criminal, and this type of love isn't rational.
On the 4th of December, the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, was found shot dead in New York City. 5 days later, the alleged shooter, Luigi Mangione, was arrested after a witness spotted his likeness to the suspect photos while he was sat eating a meal in McDonald's. He was found with a bag which held a lot of the alleged evidence for the crime, including a 3D printed gun, fake documents and driver's license, and also a 3-page handwritten document which they characterised as a manifesto. Although a motive to the crime hasn't been determined yet, a lot of people do think that this is some sort of protest because United Healthcare, they deny a lot of claims for their, insurers. I'm in two minds about this whole story because on the one hand, I really don't stand for vigilante justice. I do think that when people take matters and protests into their own hands, things do get messy. And at the end of the day, Brian Thompson was a person just like anyone else whose family sadly had to spend, the festive season without him. It is a sad story. But on the other hand, what is also really sad is that loads of people who pay for healthcare still don't get the healthcare that they are paying for because insurance companies are a corporation who want to maximise their profits. I'm just so against the mindset of making a business out of healthcare. The motto, this is so disgusting, but a motto for a lot of healthcare insurance companies amongst their teams is delay, deny, defend. It just knocks me sick because, you know, in a moral world, businesses shouldn't even exist where they're able to make a profit off people being sick. And this whole Luigi Mangione thing is just something I am following quite closely, and it, to be honest, it's too early for me to make a statement on of what I think, because I am just like the Kate Middleton thing, waiting a while till I make a definite comment on this story. I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories on this one already. There is a theory that Luigi Mangione is some sort of evil genius obsessed with the number 286.
People have started connecting dots around the number 286. On his Twitter banner, he had a picture of Breloom, Pokemon hash 286. At the time his account got deleted, he had exactly 286 tweets. And where was he arrested? Altoona, 286 miles from the crime scene. And get this, 286 is also a healthcare denial code, meaning a claim was rejected because the appeal time limit wasn't met. If that's not the most niche but unhinged Easter egg, I don't know what is.
And I don't know if this is completely true. I don't know if this is some sort of setup to make him seem like more of a genius and calculated individual than he is. I also don't know if it's one of those things where if you look for coincidences and things, you find them. But it does seem to be an odd coincidence. I will give the conspiracy theories that. And also the actual way in which he was discovered just seems a little bit suspicious to me. I mean, in my opinion, the suspect photos don't really match his appearance to a T. Like, I personally probably wouldn't have spotted him as the suspect if he was stood in front of me. It also claims that the jacket he was wearing and the backpack he was wearing do not match the initial footage of the shooter. They're just similarities. And also what I find really strange is that he was just conveniently found with all the evidence on him nearly a week after the murder took place. I'm not quite sure what to make of that. On the one hand, okay, I get it, he's on the run. Would it have even been possible for him to get rid of all the evidence in the middle of New York City while he was on the run? But we were speaking about this theory at my work as well, and one of my colleagues pointed out the fact that maybe he was caught under like illegal surveillance. Again, this is all just alleged theory. But maybe he was found via unethical practices, like maybe the police were onto him for some time and, you know, hacked his phone, or maybe it was some sort of illegal AI technology that led him to be found. And maybe the government doesn't want the public knowing that they're using this sort of technology to surveil its citizens. And maybe they fabricated the whole story about him just being conveniently spotted in McDonald's. I don't know. Much like J.K. Rowling said about her famous Harry Potter series, I open at the close. I'm going to be doing the same in this video. I started the video with an alien theory, I'm going to be finishing it with an alien theory. Since November 18th, drones have been spotted in New Jersey, and since then they've also been spotted at US air bases all around the world, especially the UK. At first, people were saying that these drones were unidentified objects, and some residents of New Jersey have also said that they have seen drones the size of cars above their houses. At first, no government came forwards to claim their involvement with these drones, but then people spotted that the drones might have actually not been the UFOs after all. People started spotting some sort of weird orbs in the sky, and then they came to the conclusion that the drones might have been surveilling the orbs and not the other way around. The US government and media has somewhat like addressed the drones, but not really given us an answer on it. President Donald Trump claimed that the government knows what is happening, and for some reason they don't want to comment.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows.
So again, not really giving too much as to what it is, but it really is alluding to the fact that the US government knows what these drones are and what they're looking for. Further sightings have also been spotted all around the world, and my own parents spotted some very similar things as they were driving around the motorway around Stafford area, I believe they said. And they said they spotted these weird flashing lights the majority of their drive home. So to them, they didn't think it could be some sort of light light show or arena because the distance covered was just far too much for these flashing lights, and they sent me the video and they were literally like, oh my god, is this like these New Jersey drones that you have been talking about? And I said, honestly, like, it does kind of look like the lights that they are like orbiting. What do you guys think? I do want to say, like, I have no idea what to make about all these drones that are in the sky. It does seem a little bit weird and a little bit sus to me. And I'm gonna finish this on a complete conspiracy nutjob take. I made a full video on a conspiracy theory called Project Bluebeam about a year ago, which is all about how the world governments are gonna fake an alien invasion. I didn't believe in Project Bluebeam at the time that I made the video, but I do have to admit, things are starting to play out a little bit too eerily similar to Project Bluebeam. So on that note, I am going to finish the video and maybe look at things that aren't conspiracy theories for a while, because honestly my head is hurting after all that. And do let me know what you thought about any of the theories I mentioned. Do you think I'm a complete nutjob, or do you think any conspiracy theories came about last year that I forgot to mention in this video or might have missed? Do let me know in the comments. Again, I am so sorry about the delay in getting this video out to you. I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't lose my motivation for YouTube. YouTube is my ultimate passion. I love making videos, but I sort of have been in my own head about making videos for some time. It's been taking me ages to like write scripts and like film videos that I'm happy with to a high standard. I am my biggest self-critic ever, and I've just been really in my own head. Like, any video I film, I hate. And then when it comes to the editing, I like hate the editing of it. So it's been really taking me a while. I'm just sort of having to get over my own fear of posting and just like sharing stuff with you, because again, it is my biggest passion, and I do apologise. I'm trying to get over like my stage fright with YouTube and yeah, performance anxiety, I guess. And I am thankful for anyone who follows along with the videos. Do let me know if you have any topics in particular that you would like me covering on this channel. I am thankful for all you guys for sticking around, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. See you soon. Bye.